Ever had your whole life flipped upside down before you've even had your first cup of coffee? Because let me tell you, the day my quiet off-grid life exploded started at 6 a.m. with a phone call I wish I'd never answered. I mean, what kind of psycho calls at dawn on a Saturday? Turns out the kind with a clipboard and a power complex, and by nightfall, there'd be a stolen truck, a forged land deed, and a near arson all wrapped up in the flaming circus that is a corrupt HOA. And that was just round one. I'll back up a sec. Name's Michael. I don't usually pick up for unknown numbers, but something about that shrill ring way too early, way too aggressive, made me grab the phone on instinct. Michael speaking, I mumbled, still chasing the last threads of a dream. Mike, it's Kevin Holt. Now, Kevin's got a voice like he chews gravel for breakfast. Listen, open your gate. My son's bringing over a load of firewood. Just let him drop it in your back lot. I blinked, thinking maybe I was still asleep. You mean my firewood? He chuckled like we were buddies swapping grilling tips. Come on, Mike. It's just logs. The community needs a spot and you've got space. You live like a damn hermit anyway. That's when I felt my blood start to simmer. That's my land, my shed, my cedar. I split and stacked every log by hand. There was a pause, some idiot laughing in the background, probably his kid Chad or Brad or whoever. Then Kevin went cold. They're already on the way. Open the gate. We don't have time to argue. Click. I hung up. Outside, the fog was thick November cold, the kind that sinks into your bones. I was halfway into my boots before I convinced myself that call actually happened. 10 minutes later, I heard tires on gravel, and sure enough, there's a beat-up van and a Chevy pickup groaning under a mound of what looked suspiciously like my cedar. 3 guys hop out Kevin's dim-wit son, and 2 muscleheads who looked like Craigslist day labor. One of them whipped out an angle grinder, and that's when it got real. I bolted back inside, hit the panic button on my gate. All that money on heavy-duty steel and high-end alarms worth every penny. Floodlights snapped on sirens, wailed, the gate slammed shut. My trail cams fired off burst photos every 2 seconds. I stood barefoot on the porch, arms crossed, watching those geniuses scramble like raccoons with a trash can lid slammed down on their tails. That's when I realized the pickup was already loaded. Not just with some firewood, with my carefully stacked seasoned cedar, the same pile I'd spent months building. I could see the drag marks in the dirt. I had receipts for the chainsaw oil, for crying out loud. So I did what any sane man would do. I called the sheriff. Stay on your porch, sir. Units are en route. And right then the van tried to turn and bolt, but a sheriff's cruiser blocked them in. I threw on a flannel, strolled down just in time to see Chad trying to play dumb. My dad said, "This was HOA land for the community." I pointed at him and said, "You see a picnic table out here, genius? This is private property. You think I stacked 20 cords for a bake sale?" The deputies were all business statements, deed, property maps, sensor logs, footage, GPS tags. Kevin didn't even show. In half an hour, I was sipping coffee at the fence while deputies wrapped up impound forms. But I wasn't just mad. I was ready to bury this clown in paperwork. So I drove straight to the county land office. It's a depressing place, smells like printer ink and stale coffee. Linda, the lady at the desk, looked like she'd rather staple her own hand than deal with another zoning complaint. But when I showed her my map and asked if anyone had filed recent changes, her screen lit up with a shared use forestry corridor request. Filed 2 weeks ago by Forest Pines HOA. Supposedly, the back lot of my land was now open for community ecological use. Complete with a forged digital signature, my name misspelled, pasted in with all the finesse of a toddler's art project. I stared at it. "That's a forgery," I said. Linda just nodded, not even surprised. "Seen it before with these HOAs. Usually just fence lines, but this is big." She slid a clipboard my way. "Cool, as you like. Might want to file for a fraud investigation." I dumped every piece of evidence I had onto that form, photos, docs, GPS logs, the works. Then my phone rang. Kevin again, smug as ever. You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. I'll tell the community you donated. The wood looks better for everyone. Don't make it about ego." I took a slow breath. The only thing I'm donating is a criminal complaint. Click. That was that. The next day, my phone went berserk. Numbers I didn't know, even a local news station. Ignored them. But then a Prius showed up with Western Cascades Environmental Network plastered on the side. Out popped two Patagonia-wearing do-gooders holding a glossy flyer with a drone shot of, you guessed it, my cedar pile. Your HOA said you generously donated your firewood to help low-income families. My eye twitched so hard I thought it'd never stop. "I didn't donate squat," I said. The woman just smiled, all social worker patience. "Well, that's not what your representative said. We just need your signature for the grant paperwork." She turned the form around, and there it was, my forged signature printed on hundreds of pamphlets. Kevin wasn't just stealing, he was marketing it. I grinned. "Tell Kevin the only donation he's getting is from my attorney." They slinked off, all no comment. 5 minutes later, my phone rings again. "News station, Mr. Grayson. Care to comment on your inspiring firewood donation?" Click. But the hits kept coming. Doorbell rang, college kid with a coffee mug. "Hey, is this where you're giving away cedar?" Craigslist said, "First come, first served." He showed me the ad, and there's my name address. Even a Notegate open owner doesn't mind. I nearly laughed. Kevin had gone nuclear. "If you step past that gate, I'll have your plate to the sheriff before you can finish your coffee." He ran back to his car, and I screen-grabbed every detail of that post from my lawyer. Within an hour, 4 more cars showed up. Some even tried climbing my fence. One guy yelled at my security camera that I shouldn't post ads if I didn't want company. I told him he'd meet my tractor before he'd meet me, and he flipped me off all the way down the drive. That's when I realized this wasn't just theft. It was a campaign. I sent everything to Kate, my attorney, a shark in boots and not the patient kind. We're going civil for trespass, theft, and misrepresentation. And that Craigslist post, cyber harassment. "You want a restraining order?" I said yes so fast I nearly dropped the phone. She called in a federal surveyor, Don Meacham, old-timer, seen every kind of land fraud. Don took one look at the fake HOA map and snorted. They didn't even change the parcel numbers. I'll testify. That evening, the sheriff raided the HOA office. The Craigslist post IP traced right back to Forest Pines. Emails between Kevin and a zoning clerk laid it out clear as day. Most folks don't read coordinates. Just move the line, we'll handle the rest. Plus fake grant apps, forged signatures. Not just mine either, at least 3 other homeowners. This was organized fraud, and the dominoes started to fall. By midweek, local news picked it up: HOA overreach or organized fraud. My fence was now a stock image for fighting back. But Kevin wasn't done. Friday morning, Don called. The notarized consent form, stamps expired. Notaries retired in Arizona 5 years ago. We set up a sting fake request. Same notary caught her on camera stamping away no ID check. Nothing. That video went straight to the DA. Now it was criminal notarization fraud. Kate was filing motions like a machine. But that wasn't even the wildest part. That night my motion lights went off. On the feed I saw a figure at my shed hoodie backpack gas can. Chad, Kevin's son, trying to torch the evidence. He froze under the floodlights, tried to bolt, but deputies grabbed him before he hit the tree line. He cracked fast. Dad's idea: burn the pile, erase the proof. He admitted everything: theft, forgery, the drone photos. Kate called first thing, we're adding arson and conspiracy. Now it was a felony. The story hit the front page: HOA VP's son in arson attempt. The HOA went dark, website vanished, Facebook gone. Then a yellow flyer appeared on my gate, Kevin playing the martyr. Due to Mr. Grayson's hostility, we withdraw our firewood aid project. We wish him healing. I scanned it for the file, then laughed till my ribs hurt. A day later, Kate called county audit, found over a dozen zoning variances, all fake. Kevin's been pulling this stunt for years, you just noticed. The DA subpoenaed every HOA record. Kevin's wife showed up at my gate, tears behind the sunglasses. "Can you stop this?" My husband made a mistake. I just stared. Which part? The theft, forgery, arson, or the fact that you thought you could get away with it? She left without a word, like she finally realized the kind of man she'd married. When court day came, Kate stacked up our evidence like a fortress. I walked into that courthouse feeling 10 feet tall. Kevin sat there looking like a deflated balloon. The jury heard it all. Forged docs, fake maps, arson plot, the whole HOA scam. Chad confessed on the stand. The clerk flipped, the notary was disbarred. Kevin was convicted on every count: fraud, conspiracy, harassment, arson. 7 years in state prison. His son got probation. The notary lost her license for good. And Forest Pines HOA, dissolved assets, frozen decisions, now run by the county. Kate shook my hand. "You just made HOA history." I told her I just wanted to keep my firewood. As I drove home past the new steel gate, I finally felt stillness again. 2 weeks later, no vans, no flyers, just cedar and wind. I built a new sign for the gate: private property. Trespassers will meet my axe before they meet the sheriff. It wasn't just a warning, it was closure. The news called me a folk hero. Neighbors sent thank you notes, even printed my sign for their barns. The county asked if I'd serve on the new oversight board. I told them to pay in firewood if they wanted a chance. These woods feel taller now, quieter, stronger, like they remember who actually owns them. But I'll say this, you can have all the alarms, gates, and cameras in the world, but sometimes all it takes is one good fence and the will to defend it to keep a lie from swallowing everything you love. So let me ask you, how far would you go to protect what's yours? Ever dealt with an HOA nightmare? Drop your story below. Tell me where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe for more wild HOA justice. Because out here, the only thing standing between you and a lie is you. And a good axe doesn't hurt either.